Hey, this is Mark with the Practical Still. Going to open up another bottle. This one's near and dear to my heart. We all know this as Whiskey Geeks, the Henry McKenna single barrel, 10-year-old bottled and bond whiskey from Heaven Hill these days. And, used to sit on the shelves, thankfully, in the $25, $30 range, probably less if you were on it a little longer. These days, it won some awards. You're lucky to find it for $50 if you find it all on the shelf, and then some people will pay $100 for it. I liked it a lot at $25. I liked it a lot at $30. I liked it pretty well at $35. I liked it a little less every time the price went up. Thankfully, I knew I liked it, so I bought a lot of it. Got kind of a little stash going and bought them over time, so the different barrels. One of the knocks on this is that there is some inconsistency in the barrels where, there's the barrel that just blows your mind, and then there's some that are just okay. But it's a single barrel product, so you expect some of that. Maybe they get a little more variation than you'd expect. I like the whiskey. I also have another reason. This is what my dad drank. He always drank Henry McKenna Sour Mash Bourbon, and he always said it just like that, the whole thing, Henry McKenna Sour Mash Bourbon. He would never have just referred to it as McKenna. I don't remember the exact date that Heaven Hill bought the brand, but he certainly predated that. I remember the bottles being two kinds mostly in the house, three really. So there was a fifth occasionally, but generally a handle. And I remember, I can close my eyes and remember the lettering on the bottle, but I think that was a pre-Heaven Hill setup, and probably I think it was a 6-year-old 86 proof product. He always drank bourbon and branch. So I opened this ahead of time and poured a little of that up. I don't really know if he actually had branch water or if he just called it that, or I don't know. You couldn't get this in the state I grew up in Alabama, so he would always buy it in Georgia, which ties to a friend of his named Todd that lived in Atlanta, who was one of those guys that always had everything happening in his house. So I'm guessing he probably found it there, and maybe there was some branch water involved. I don't know. I've got some kind of branchy water that I bought, some limestone filtered water, probably mostly marketing, but I enjoy having it. I think it makes a difference in the whiskey, so I poured some up. So we're going to take a sip. We're going to toast my dad because he loved his sour mash bourbon, Henry McKenna sour mash bourbon, that is. And it's my first memories of bourbon was him drinking it, big smiles, and the smell that I can still smell whether I've got a bottle open or not. So, to Dad. I don't usually drink bourbon on the rocks with a bunch of water in it like this. But I got to tell you, if you start with a 10-year-old 100 proof whiskey, that's pretty tasty. Maybe I'll do that more often. But I do try and drink a little McKenna every year, if no other time on this date. So while that was a crappy day in 2004, it happens this bottle was barreled on a happy day in August, on August 9th. I won't tell you her exact date, but my daughter was born on August 9th, years before this went in the barrel, but still a happy day, August 9th, always. So we'll have that with us and be happy. So to me, whiskey has always been much more about friends and sharing and family, probably because of him. So cheers. Well, single barrel inconsistencies apart, this is a fine example of a 10-year-old bottled and bond single barrel McKenna. Oh, that's really good. Yeah. So I guess if you had one and you weren't so impressed, you're not sure why it won the awards, there's the inconsistency in single barrels. I'm not suggesting somebody at Heaven Hill went through and picked the best barrel they could and sent that to whatever prestigious spirits competition it won before the price went up to $50, and you could hardly ever find one for less than $100. But there is inconsistency. This barrel's great. This is very good. I'm not going to go through trying to describe it. You guys know it's great Heaven Hill bourbon. It's a great example of something at 10 years old that's bottled and bond that used to be affordable. And if 50 to $100 is in your wheelhouse, I'd do that. Frankly, I would not pay. I think the most I ever paid for one of the 10 bottles or so I've got is 45. I'd probably do that again. To me, it's worth that. But you decide. But just don't give up on it if you had one taste that wasn't great. there are some great barrels, and they're and way more often than not, 8 or 9 times out of 10, when I open one of these, they're fabulous. So don't give up on that. Give it a shot. Before I go, you may be wondering about the shirt. I don't normally wear shirts like this. Well, my dad bought this shirt for me. I don't remember. I think it was a Father's Day, maybe when I was a new father years and years ago, which would have been, a quarter century ago, 25 plus years. I don't know why he bought me this shirt. I never wore shirts like this. I don't know why he bought me a shirt. It wasn't like after I was a little kid and grown that he bought me clothes on a regular basis, but he did. He was a funny guy, and this is a funny shirt, and I wear it at least once a year, maybe twice on his birthday or on this day. So 16 years you've been gone. Share some whiskey with some friends. As he always said, hug your babies. And if you get a chance, have a little bourbon and branch. And if you got some McKenna handy, use that and raise a glass. Cheers.